next step. Let's go through and try and block it in by pulling out some of the major light shapes. Looks like there'll be a big one there. Sky, of course. Looks like something there, the side of the building, there. Oh, and there's this funny little white rectangle. It looks like the street in the distance. I'm going to try to pull that out so I can kind of see where that's placed. Let's say it hits about right there. You see that? Okay, and then it looks like the angle of the road. Sometimes I'll take that dark color that I'm working with and kind of do some drawing. Because now that I've got these major slabs of value figured out, I can come back in and place everything where it's going to go. And we decided, again, to ignore that silly banner in the upper left. I'm going to mix a slightly thicker dull blue. That, again, was ultramarine blue, and I'm using, in this case, threw in some transparent red earth. I need it to be thicker because, frankly, that undertone should be quite a lot darker than I have it. Come back as I go along, kind of placing things. It's dark there, dark there. Lay quite a bit of the dark in, and then I'll come back, soften it, and make it transparent if it's opaque anywhere. Looks like a thing like that, and then this comes down like that. I think my color needs to be a bit bluer. I think I overdid it with the brown. See that? That is almost black, mixing ultramarine blue with transparent red earth. It gives you a beautiful black, but I was kind of going for something a little bluer. So I think I'll return, add some manganese this time to really make sure I blew it up some. There it is, a little more ultramarine. Maybe start a new puddle. Here we go. Oh, I'm running out of clean brushes. This is why we all have hundreds and hundreds of brushes. So you don't have to stop and clean something. So you can just pick up another brush and go. Okay, let's try again. Still think that's too blackish, not blue enough. Gonna go pick up some more blue. Try again. There, that's more what I'm talking about, a little bluer. And it's nice and transparent. I'm happy with that consistency. Gonna do some drawing here. So it looks like you kind of think of all the shapes as silhouettes. So I'm going to come and put dark blue under areas of trees that I know later will have light blobs on top of them. The reason why I underpaint them like this is so the light blob will really stand out on top of it, because you've got value of contrast. The darker it is underneath, the lighter the thing I put on top will look. Okay, so I don't want to just pick out the dark shadow areas of the tree. I want to kind of underpaint the whole tree a beautiful blue. So later on, when I put my lighter blobs of color, they'll really stand out. Okay, and then the tree does something funny. Yeah, it does something odd right there. And then underneath it, going back in space, is the rest of the trees, all in a row. When doing a landscape, you start with the thing furthest back, the sky in this case, and gradually work your way forward and down to the bottom. It makes it easier to paint because then the overlap kind of makes sense. I think if you do it, you'll see. Now I'm loving that blue shadow color, and I'm really laying it in all the places I see it. Remember, don't scrub things out too thin or you end up getting not dark enough. So we're scrubbing, yes. You will notice when you start to play with glazes and colors like this that some colors are naturally more transparent than others. The most transparent ones are generally the darker colors. In our palette, we're using phthalo green. It's quite dark and transparent. Ultramarine blue, also quite dark and transparent. Okay, going back the street, this appears to be a series of kind of little, looks like shadows or something. And then lots of little detailed stuff back there. When I close one eye and squint, it all kind of morphs into one blob. So I think for now, just indicate it with a swatch of lightness and move on. I think my light area, it somehow got moved down. So if need be, come back with a Q-tip or your finger or whatever and kind of work it out. There, it's more like that. Go back, fill your brush frequently. Beginners tend not to. Okay, something goes like that. There's something dark back here. Try not to name things. It doesn't matter if it's tree or road or sky. It's all the same. It's either dark, light, medium value, and or bright. That's all we're looking for. Okay, now let me see what's going on a little bit here on the other side of the road. It's kind of light. There's not a lot of shadow over there, except for a real soft one right here. Now, like the banner, all those poles and stuff, it doesn't matter if you paint them or not. If you don't like them, don't paint them. I think I'm going to choose to paint this one skinny one here. I may take it out later, but for now, it really helps me place the other things in my painting. It's like a landmark. Okay, even though I'm trying to do something really precise, remember, this is not how we do it. Back up, and if you need a support, do it. To make a thin line, you can get one of those liners, but generally what most artists will do is get a really good flat brush like this. You can see when you look down the barrel what a fine chisel edge you've got. You just saturate the brush and pull it straight down. You get some beautiful thin lines. If you had to do like rigging on a sailboat or something like that, do it with your flat brush, turn it on its side. Now I'm looking at the edge of the tree, just trying to fill in the entire silhouette, pushing it out a little bit more to where it was against the sky. Okay, and then this keeps going back here like that. Something dark there. A lot of artists talk to themselves, including me. We kind of talk ourselves through it, kind of the way I'm doing with you. So this is not so foreign to me. Okay, I'm looking to the foreground. Look at that beautiful blue shadow up there. Ooh, I want to get rid of that mud and make sure my blue there is very blue, very clean, very strong. Okay, let's see if I've got blue, clean, and strong. Yeah, okay, that works. Okay. Okay, then there's a funny little sky hole, and then another lump of green right about there. That's a better way to think of it. It's not a tree, it's a lump of green light. And then there's a lump of red, kind of a reddy brown right next to it. So I'm going to go ahead, switch out, and block that red tree in with a little quinacridone red. Oops. By the way, if you have a display and it's constantly turning off on you, timing out, go into settings and you should find a heading called Energy Saver or something like that. So you can change it from turning off after 1 minute of no use to never turning off. Just depends on what you want it. But you should easily be able to switch that. Okay, what else is there? I see a lot of really light. I'm going to ignore the light, but I do see an interesting shadow behind the red tree that I do want. So I think I'm going to go back to my original blue and grab that. Looks sort of like that. And this red ball looks like it's made out of that same shadowy stuff right here at the end. Okay. If you know where your extreme lights are going to be at this time, we still haven't started adding light paint, but I might go back with one of my tools and pull out some of those extreme lights so I can kind of see where they're going to be. Because thankfully it's oil paint, we have plenty of time to do this. Okay, just pull it out, we'll paint it in later. This is like a placeholder or marks to show you where those lights will be. Just kind of helps us accurately place everything, just to know where those lights go. Okay, and there's a light spot. And what else have we got? A few light spots there. Oh, it gets super white up there, but I'm not sure. Just kind of draw that mark in so I remember where it is, the top of that building. And then it looks like it turns into that green right there. Just going to underpaint where that green is blue. Watch hard edges that aren't there, like that. See how the orange blob is too sharp right there? Compare it to the reference. Come here now while it's wet and make sure I don't put sharp edges where there aren't any. If you do your painting with too many sharp edges, it ends up looking nice, but sort of like one of those old paint by number paintings. You know, all the edges are hard. Okay, this looks better to make them look soft when they're soft and hard when they're hard. Okay, pulling out some lights back there. And then, of course, there's this great huge one that I can probably pull out with my... Oh, it's kind of a slanted line, too. It kind of goes like that, right? And then what happens to it? Really angled like that. Huh. There's a good example of when the paint on top isn't heavier than what's underneath. Do you see I was trying to add blue pigment there, but instead, because the paint consistency was off, I took paint away. When that happens, go back, clean and dry your brush, and fill it with paint again. See if you can make it thicker this time, or that will happen again. See if I got it. Just going to make it slightly transparent there because it looks like it got opaque. Do it with my finger, no problem. Okay, and then it looks like this blue travels off like that. Get that line. pull out my white so I remember it's there. And it looks like this little shape could be better. Just marking its place. It's going to be super light. And it's going to be super light right down here. Pull out as much light as I can right there. That's where the lights are going to go. So there's other lights, and it's really light right through there. See that on the reference? It's like these little spots of sidewalk. And then just reminding myself. And I did that with my own fingers. It is wet oil paint after all, but no problem. I can get rid of it as easily as I was to put it there. Okay, and then there's another one like that. And I think now I have two options. I can keep going with paint thicker than what's underneath, but you know, I think it's much easier just to let this dry and come back and put the second layer on then. So through the magic of television, we'll be back with this one.